Hi, this is Colin from Watch Off the Cuff. I've got a Citizen EcoDrive men's watch, and we are going to do a capacitor change on this. I did it. The video before this was also a capacitor change. Actually, they came in for the same customer. I just split it up in case somebody had a ladies' watch and they were doing it, and I don't even know what capacitor this thing takes. But we're going to check that out right now. So we're going to look at the bottom on the front here, and it should be on the back as well. But it says on the dial Japan movement and dash. E111-K, blah, 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 and the NKA. So it's the E111 that we want to take a look at. I'm going to look at my chart up here that I have on the wall, and I've got my E series, and I'm going to go E111, and it is a 2951, which is actually the same capacitor that I used just a moment ago. So we're going to do that. I had a little thing with the last one I'll talk about now, and we'll maybe do it differently, depending on what you've got in your shop or how confident you are. If you're interested in seeing me work with a partially disintegrated spring bar and having to reuse it since I didn't have the right size, at the end I think the watch was no worse off than when I found it was completely safe and secure to do it the way I did it, but it was a little bit tricky. Like, it would not be for the faint of heart if you haven't done a lot of it and don't feel dexterous. So I ended up taking out the pin from here, popping it out. The spring bar kind of came apart. Sometimes the ends pop out eventually, and it's just a press fit in there, and then they're sprung. There's a spring on the inside, so that they want to fall out. You got to make sure both sides. Anyway, it can be a bit crazy. You could just remove one of the. In this case, I have a cotter pin, like a friction pin. You could push the push pin out. For example, I have push pins. So if I push the push pin out, sometimes it's a folded over piece of metal with a kind of bulb at the top. So it's kind of like two things over, and then when you push it in, then this gets crushed in a little bit. What happens over time is it tends to split. So sometimes if you have an old friction pin and you pull it out, it comes out in pieces. But I keep those in stock as well, which is probably easier sometimes to do that. So the idea was we didn't want to open up this watch all the way to see what we're going to do. So I don't know. Now I'm trying to make a decision on camera. Do I just do the clasp, or do I just pull out another tool? I think, you know what I'm going to do? I had a lot of luck, even with the one was finicky. I'm just going to open up the clasp here. But you could take a look at the arrows that's in here and then push it out or whatever. But before I get into it, I should change the camera and go so you can see what I'm doing. Back in a second. Alrighty, sorry for the preamble. Some of the other videos I've got, they're like, thank goodness you just got to the point, showed me the thing I needed to know. So anyway, so I'm going to pop open this spring bar on the clasp here, and I'm just going to press in with a small pusher. Oh, it feels very tight. You know what? I'm not going to do that one because it doesn't feel very good. We'll do this one instead on the clasp. It's much less gunky. I'm going to put my finger over it so it doesn't go across the room. Remember that. And gently pull that out. And this one stayed in one piece. Yay. Anyway, so we've got that. Sometimes if I take it out this side, you got to remember where the customer had the micro adjustments when you put it back together. In this case, we know there's only one hole. So anyway, we're doing that. So now that we're here, I need to do two things. I need to grab the capacitor. So since it's an E111 Citizen EcoDrive movement, we need the 295-51 capacitor. I'm going to get that, and I'm going to change the camera. We're going to go to the opening screw top opening screw case. Why am I like I've done this for like years and I can't remember the name. Anyway, we're going to go to a different camera angle, and we'll open the back of this thing. See you in a second. Okay, here we are. So we're going to pull this guy out here, and we're going to place it in the movement or the watch holder. Here we go. So I'm going to open up the jaws here, and I'm going to fit the two. I'm going to go this way. Since it's got kind of like a partially integrated, well, I guess it's got a fully integrated bracelet, that it curves up. So I want to make sure that this mechanism doesn't interfere with the case. So that's why I'm doing it here, so I can open it and then make sure that I'm clearing anything that's going on here, but we're not quite in the right position. They're actually quite shallow, and it slipped a little. So I'm going to just use this ring right here to create constant tension so it doesn't go anywhere. And then we'll give it a quick turn. Oh, there we go, nice and easy. So, anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing. In fact, I probably have enough room now that I could just use the ball. Put it here, just, can we keep it in camera somewhere? Anyway, we'll do it here, for example, and I could just use the ball to unscrew. You can see there, it just unscrews the, anyway. I got the Bergeron one. I mean, there's Hortec makes them too. Shameless plug. I sell them on the website. Anyway, I'm going to take this over to the bench. I'll probably just leave it in the watch holder since I'm already going to put it back later anyway. So I'll take that over and we'll get this thing open and we'll put the capacitor in. All right, here we are. So we'll get this case back off. And I'm going to change my glasses. So we're going to take a look here, and you see it says MT61 by Sony. It's funny, the last time I think it was a Panasonic MT920. So just because it says that does not mean that you can go and get a Sony MT621 capacitor. And the reason is that there's a small bracket that's spot welded to this to make proper contact. So you do need to get this this Citizen Capacitor. I mentioned in another video that the industry standard is we just end up dropping the 2 zeros, since the zeros are universally on the end of anyone, or on the end of all the part numbers for these Citizen capacitors. So industry just calls it a 29551. Don't worry, the 2 zeros, it's the same thing. That's how it comes. It's just one of those quirky things where it's something develops and then everybody just refers to it that way, even though that's not what it says on the box. But anyway, it's the same thing. Okay, so we're gonna take a look. I have one kind of interesting thing I'm gonna say, and that is I open this up and it smells a little bit fishy. And to me, when I smell it and it smells a little bit fishy, it means that typically the seal has broken on the battery. So we'll see whether we get reliable operation, although I think this one was just in power saving mode, so we should be okay. But I always worry, I'm like, how long has that been sitting there? Anyway, I just noticed it's kind of like weird that when you do this for a while, you open up watches and then like they smell a particular way and you just know things about it. It's like one of those old school doctors or medicine men, and they're like, they want to smell your breath or something and to tell you what's wrong with you. Anyway, it kind of feels like that sometimes. So anyway, and sometimes too, if it smells like dank or whatever, then it's like, man, maybe the seals aren't very good, and we're getting, even though we can't see any moisture, there's probably some moisture getting in the case, and then you have a reason to go and check all the seals and make sure things are all right as well. But anyway, it's funny how that kind of stuff works. This is embarrassing because it's being really hard to open. Maybe we'll grab that and I will show you with the new one. Anyway, I didn't show in the other one the little bracket that makes the difference here. I'll grab the original one here. We'll flip that over. So that's the little welded bracket that's going to go, and it sits in this little indent right here. And that's what's going to make contact. If you don't, here's the new one, then it is things. And I suspect that this one is listed as, we'll flip it over just so you can see it. This will be Panasonic. They change the manufacturers from time to time. There we go. So there's the new one. You can see it has the same welded bracket on the little brass bracket on the bottom. And this one is actually listed as an MT621 Panasonic. So anyway, I guess that was a Sony MT621. So anyways, we'll get rid of that old one. And I'm just going to grab this with the plastic tweezers, and I'm going to position the prong that needs to go in the place that I want it to go directly away from me so that I can come in straight, place it in. And then I'm going to use just a little bit of pegwood to press the battery down while I pull, whoa, mayday, mayday, while I pull this bracket away from the thing, the retaining bracket. We'll just gently touch it down. And there we go, we are in there. So at this point, I usually do a quick check and just make sure that we've got signs of life there. And it's still in power saving mode. We're gonna put this to the windowsill for a little bit. Charge it up. It should come out of that mode easily once we give it a little bit of a charge. I am going to just quickly clean the seat on the back here. Move this out of the way. I'm going to take this Bergeron 7010 probe. I'm just going to give it a little poke here so we can get out the gasket. This one's a flat gasket. I'm going to clean the case back where the gasket meets it. And sometimes I run my nail here on the end of it because sometimes some gunk gets there. This is pretty clean on the back, so they were good there. So I'm going to just get some Rotoco. I'm just going to get rid of all the junk on this. And we're gonna grab this Lubra box and we're gonna put this here. This has got silicone 7 in it. So if you think about what grease I use, there it is. And go like there. And then we can put this into the watch again. And we'll just close that up. And I'll just put that into place. I don't want to roll it in because I don't want to make sure the gasket is kept flat. That looks good all the way around. Rotoco out of the way. We'll flip this over. Sometimes I just back it up a little bit to make sure that we're not cross-threading this at all. Again, it's just patience. You'll feel, if it doesn't feel right, just stop. And I felt like when I unscrewed this, it felt a little bit like the threads are a little crunchy. So they might be slightly burred. So I can feel it feels slightly burred. So I'm just gonna back it up a little bit again. And I just wanna make sure I've got a real nice start on this thing to make sure that's good. And I still doesn't feel right. No, I don't like that. Just gonna back it up a little more. Just give it a nice turn. And patience, it's binding again. Like patience is everything. Let's go back like this. I'm just gonna do this. And I grab the Magic 8 Ball. I'm just gonna back it up. Gives me just a little more control. Yeah, it still feels crunchy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a look at the thread just to be sure there's no burr or anything on it. That looks good. Anyway, we'll just be patient. And just picking it up and taking it away and just reseating, and then it feels great. So I'll just do a preliminary tighten on it there, and then we'll take it back to the case closing machine. See you in a second. At the case closing machine here. Oh, it's one of those days. There we go. And I'm gonna change my glasses. Open up the jaws. These divots are the little notches where this goes are quite shallow on this watch. So we're just gonna make sure we get nice pressure downwards, make sure we don't slip. And I just went there again. I don't want to come through the teeth here will grind up against the way the cases, the integrated bracelet works. So it's just always important to just check your clearances and just be patient. You know, that's, if anything, that's all the trouble I've ever gotten into is because I was getting frustrated or, you know, and then I wasn't patient. So I'm just going to give it a little torque. There we go. We'll open up the ring again. And then we'll go back to the bench and we will reattach the bracelet so it's all in one piece again. We'll set it and we should be in great shape. Okay, here we are. Let's get it out of this. I could have taken that out previously. And we'll grab the spring bar that's here. We'll place it back into things. So I'm going to place it in the bottom first. I'm going to make sure it's lined up and in there. And then you can see the top is sticking up. We're going to grab my spring bar tool. I am using, in this case, the Bergeron 6767 with the fine tip. Oh, I got my wrong glasses on. I tried to flick down the loop. So here we go. So we'll come in here and we'll press down the spring bar. Clicked in both sides. We're good to go. We're going to set that and we'll be back in business. So again, there is a Citizen Eco Drive. I think I covered everything. I did two of them kind of in a row. So this one I probably didn't explain as many things as I did in the first one. So if you're interested, I do a white face ladies Citizen Eco Drive that I go maybe into a few more details about a few little things. And if you want to see me struggle with a partially deconstructed spring bar and trying to put it together in a clasp, you can see me do that. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Lots of stuff for sale, including this ball, this spring bar tool, this probe on watchoffthecuff.com. Thanks for your continued support. Until next time, cheers.